Nithya Menen, whom I've long admired, especially after I saw OK Karmani, and then I saw everything that she'd done, or at least most of it. I was so entranced by her. And what I like even more about her is that she speaks her mind off screen as well, which is a very rare quality in stars and actors today. I think they're also politically correct and so scared of the online social media and sometimes orchestrated attack that they really are very careful about what they say. So, hello and welcome, Nithya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kaveri. I also want to give you the opportunity to explain the dark classes if you like to do it
Yes,
to your viewers.
yes. I have an eye infection, so it's not that Nithya is dazzling me so much, although she is quite dazzling, that I have to wear these dark glasses. So, Nithya, thank you for getting that out of the way. I have to ask you because OK Kanmani was my absolute favorite film for a long while. What really was it like working on that movie and working with Mani Ratnam?
Um, to be quite honest with you, when I first heard the basic idea of OK Kanmani, I remember thinking, is he following me? With the camera, because it was so similar to my thought process at that time.
Right.
What I was thinking, how I was, it was so uncanny. So I thought that was the first sign. And I said, that looks like a sign, I should surely do this. And, there's, um, so, and then of course it's Mani sir and PC sir and everything. And, so yeah, so that character was very much close to how I was viewing things and viewing life. And a lot of little things were so me. And a lot of in the final edit, a lot of stuff didn't make it to the final edit. There were a lot more scenes that were cut out, but a lot of stuff, very specific stuff, was so much. I connected so much to that. So the experience of working on it was fabulous. Of course, working with Mani sir and everything is a great thing. What I really like is working with the kind of people like Mani sir, who understand you as an actor so much that they let you be, and that is very important. They know when to let you be. And Mani sir just let me be. So I felt like that was the most I could just be myself, So he was just getting the best out of me, like, by just like letting me be as natural as possible. And I really like that becomes very spontaneous. It becomes very organic.
Right. You've said in a lot of places, Nithya, that around that time things changed for you in terms of you taking your career far more seriously and knowing that acting was really your calling. And it was a gift, and it is a gift that you've been given. Did it have anything to do with working on that movie, or was it a spiritual experience as you
Yeah,
called it?
it was a spiritual experience. It had nothing to do with the movie or anything, or the fact that like, in fact, 2015 was one of my most successful years
Yes.
in every way. It was not just OK Kanmani. There were films in all languages, I think.
Yeah, your 100 Days of Love also, I think, in that period, right?
Yeah, a bunch of films released that year, which were all like, really, which really did well, and which were like, received well. So that happened. But then after that, I quite consciously took some time out, and that kind of soul searching is what made the difference.
Why did you want to do that? Because was it that you'd been working non-stop for a long while?
No, it was very simple. I was not happy.
Okay. It's so difficult to see you as someone who's not happy because you're
I
always
know.
so cheerful.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
because today I've done that. That today I am in a place where I'm actually I'm truly happy today, and maybe that was very important to me because I took it as far more important than a career
Hmm.
or doing films. So I thought I put a pause on everything and I said, wait, stop. Why are you so unhappy? What is it? What is the problem? So then I took a break and I found all the answers to that.
Do you want to talk about it, Nithya, or is it very private, the period of soul searching?
It is quite private because you can't uh, it's not possible to really even put it in words. Uh, you can't, like a spiritual experience is something that you cannot really put in words, and you can't talk about it lightly either. I would maybe talk to you if we were one on one, but otherwise it's not something that you can just talk like that, lightly. Uh, but 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 I will say that those 2 years or whatever that I decided to take off, and I kind of just devoted to myself, and uh, were some of the most toughest but also the most happiest years of my life.
Right.
And I was completely cut off from the world outside or the profession or anything. I didn't care because the process was so powerful and so uh, consuming that nothing else mattered. And then later, after many years, I started realizing what people were talking, and they were all, people were very uh, wondering what was happening and why I wasn't, doing anything, and why I put on weight and like so many things. So when I saw that, I remember thinking clearly, I remember laughing and thinking, oh my God, if only they knew
Right.
what a beautiful state I'm in and how well I'm doing. And it was the opposite, like, oh, what's wrong with it? Something wrong? Oh, she's putting on weight. Is she pregnant? Is she secretly married? So many things. So I thought, wow, people think like I'm going through a hard time because I'm not doing films. Simple. But
Yeah.
that's not the case. I was actually doing fantastic. It was some of the happiest days of my life. So that I would say.
Did you travel a lot during that period?
No, no, no. I was on self quarantine. I was literally in the house for 2 years. I don't think I even stepped out, maybe a couple of times. So that brings us to quarantine.
Yeah, so
There's
great
nothing
practice.
new for me. Yeah, when everyone's freaking out, I'm like, what? I do this all the time. Welcome to my world. you know?
Right. And Nithya, so, that's a very interesting aspect of being a celebrity, being a public person, that there are some parts to you that no one will ever understand. And yet people think that they have a claim on you. They have a claim on a piece of you because you're on screen. So that contradiction, of course, is something I cannot imagine what it must be like for an actor. But sometimes does it just overwhelm you, this need that people have to know of what you're doing every
Yeah.
minute of your life, what you're reading, what you're eating, what you're wearing, who you're wearing?
Sometimes, when I think about it, I then realize it's not my problem.
Yeah.
It's theirs. Uh, because if your life revolves around another person, whoever it may be, that means yours is pretty empty.
Hmm.
So that I realize, when I realize that, I think, well, it's not my problem. So yeah, it does sometimes bother you and everything. It did at that time when I got to know the kind of rumors and all that. Then I was like, why are they so worried about me? Yes, I put on a little bit of weight, but why is that such a big deal? It was exaggerated. I felt it was like I've lost my weight completely now, right?
Yeah.
It was exaggerated beyond necessity. See, it was a very temporary thing. It's not that it was, but they wasted all of the people who talked about it
Yeah.
and gossiped endlessly, just wasted their time doing that because it's not there anymore. So it's their problem. And I, I feel that it is imperative for me to stay focused because I want to achieve a something in this lifetime.
Right.
And this realization has given me purpose. It has given me direction. And that is what people need to get, a purpose and a direction. That direction will always keep you on the right path, and you will not get distracted unnecessarily by things that don't matter to you.
Yeah, it could be the latest car, it could be a bigger house, it could be, more stylish clothes.
Yeah.
But
Or
what is
what's going on in the world, like picking on only the negative stuff in the world and saying, oh, this is going on, that is going on. Just wasting your time. Instead, do something real.
So what is the purpose that you discovered after this experience?
The purpose is a very sacred thing. It's not something I would ever even speak. It's a very, very sacred thing. But there is a purpose. And the purpose is not self-centered. It is always other-centered.
Right.
And in small ways, you'll see hints of it in what I do, or in who I am, or if I talk to you for that little bit of time, how you feel.
Right.
That matters. Each and every person I meet, if I can touch in a way that's, positive, that's one step closer to the purpose.
Absolutely. How did it affect your work, your craft?
Oh, by leaps and bounds, because my profession was at the center of my spiritual experience always, right from the beginning.
Right.
My belief in God, because I was from an atheist family. So there was never a God, there was never a thing that you should pray or that, nothing. But I started to believe in God when I started to realize how helpless I was when it came to acting and films. I didn't want it. I didn't try for it. I tried to run away from it. But I was just there. This is what I was doing somehow. And I realized there's something else that's stronger than me, that's kind of making me do this and say, look, you don't know it yet. You're not knowledgeable enough yet. You don't yet have the wisdom, but this is what you're meant to come, dragging me back. So it all started from there. And even this started from me saying, look, why am I unhappy? Because I don't like this job. I've never wanted to do it. I've had great dreams. I've had so many things I wanted to do. So all that felt a bit of a sacrifice, because I wasn't doing that, and I was doing something that I kind of didn't really enjoy. Because most people who are in films enjoy it, right? They really wanted to be here all their life. They've dreamt since they're kids. So they enjoy themselves. And I'm like, ugh, when can I go home? So it was very central. So what I realized, one of the things I realized is that the films was my spiritual path. This was it.
Right.
That was a very intense. The minute I realized that, then there was spontaneously love towards that profession and love towards that, because this is what is going to get me where I want to go finally. So it is through this path that I am meant to walk in this lifetime. So I will do it. And then, but on its own, I just started to suddenly see films in a completely different way. I started to see the beauty and the power that films had to change the way people feel. Today, if you're feeling a certain way, you can put on a film and it can alter the way you feel.
Absolutely.
That, to me, is more powerful than any army in the world, to alter the way a person feels. And then it becomes your responsibility to alter it for the good, always.
Absolutely. Which brings me beautifully to my next question, Nithya. You've always been part of very progressive cinema. And what I've noticed about you is that you also care about the film as a whole, not necessarily just your part in it. Your part in it may be small. It may be a cameo. It may be a bigger piece. But I see that you actively want to be part of good cinema. Is that so?
Yes. I really want to see films do better than they're doing now. Like, I want them to not be so mediocre.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what I'm working towards. Not my personal gain, like how will I be the biggest star in the world, like that really doesn't matter. But I truly, passionately want to see cinema being better than like mediocre. You should always like, because exactly because of this, because cinema has the power to do so much to a person. It doesn't have to always be something big, something intense. It can be a happy film that just makes a person laugh, or a funny film that just, like, brings some kind of joy into people's lives. That's very, very important as well. But I want to see real films. I want to see genuine films being made. So I'm always working towards that. So if I see a film like that, I will be a part of it, because that's what I'm sort of working towards. So you'll see me doing roles that are not very big, or like, but I believe in that film. So then I'll do it.
Right.
You know?
I've noticed, say, whether it was Bangalore Days or whether it's Mere Sal, sometimes you do very small roles, but you can see that you want to be part of that cinema and you really enjoy it. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of your contemporaries like Dulquer and Fahad also have, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a very nice collaborative sort of experience that all of you have. And I think it'll really make cinema much better.
Yes,
So,
I think, like you said, that word is very important. That sort of the collaborative
right,
uh, experience is very important. People need to start seeing it as a collaborative thing, not as a self-centric thing, that it's me or it's around me, but
right,
it's us. And if all of us are so good, we should all come together and do something fabulous. I
absolutely.
hope, yeah.
But I think, increasingly you're doing that, of course. I want to take you back a little and then we'll come to Breathe too, because I think that's also something very significant that you're doing. What has it been like working with people like Santosh Sivan and Gautam Menon? What is the kind of energy that these people bring to your world, to your work?
I've never worked with Gautam Menon.
Oh, you
Uh,
haven't. I'm so sorry.
but yeah, but I have worked with some really interesting cinematographers, Santosh Shivan,
Right.
PZ Sir, and Ravi Varman, and like a bunch of really, really good cinematographers and stuff. Uh, I honestly, I feel the exchanges for me are always in terms of the kind of human beings they are.
Right.
There's very little, people always ask me, what did you learn? What did you learn? There's nothing to learn. uh, it doesn't work like that. You always exchange with another human being. You give and take. You see, you just, that's all it is. That you don't need to, like, necessarily, uh, learn something, but you gain from just the interaction, and
Hmm.
they gain and you gain, and both, it works both ways. So it's just the people that they're very colorful people. That's all. They're
Yeah,
all very different. Everybody
absolutely.
has their very unique. Santosh has a very unique personality, which which is very strongly, like, bizarre and unique. He's
He told me he's growing a forest outside Puducherry. I said, what?
yeah.
Imagine, He said,
He's
yeah,
a
there was land, so I thought, let me build a forest.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's different guy. So yeah, he does crazy stuff and everything. It's always great to work with people who are out of the box, and
Yeah,
who, like, do their own thing. And that's because that's authentic. They're
yes,
just being themselves. They're not conforming to anything but them, just being themselves. Not to mention, he's a genius.
yeah.
I've rarely seen someone who, like, I think would fit that word genius as much as Santosh would.
What about Anjali Menon? What's it like working with her?
Oh, great. I mean, Anjali and me are very close. So
Okay,
even Bangalore days, like, she wanted me to play the character, the main character, Divya and all. But I couldn't, because I was doing a bunch of other stuff and all of that. And then she said, okay, you will at least do this, right? Like, I said, yeah, 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 I'll do it. Because it's just a few days and it's in Bangalore, it's at home. I was like, yeah, of course I'll do it, like, because I was happy to be at home and shoot from home. So yeah. So Anjali and me also, we get along very well. And it's a very mutually, like, just like a fun. We're very close.
yeah, I think I
So
can see from your Instagram that she adores you.
yeah. I really hope we get to do more, something nice in the future. We always talk about it, but Anjali is also not someone who just, like, mechanically churns out things.
Right.
Like, she has her own life, and so only when she feels like it, she'll write something, and that comes quite rarely.
Right. And I have to ask you what it's like working with Dulquer, because he is just my absolute favorite.
And, you know, it's great. It's nice. Dulquer and me have done a couple of stuff together. When we did OK Kanmani, we were doing 100 days at the same
As well.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time together. Dulquer is a very proper guy. He's very proper. He's very like, he loves his family, loves his wife. One of the things that we used to talk about a lot during 100 Days and OK Kanmani and all was that he always wanted a baby, and he wanted a baby girl.
Okay.
And I was so happy that he had a
Yeah.
daughter. So he says, "I'm so ready to have a baby girl, Nits." And then he'll tell me how great marriage is, and then he'll try to convince me,
To get
you should get
married.
married. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, not right now. No, I'm telling you. So he's like that. He's fun, and I think we have this sort of almost, it's that chemistry that Dulquer and I have is something that neither of us really recognize or know. It just
Yeah.
happens on screen. It's not that when we are doing it, we know, we can tell, oh, that was nice chemistry. Like we can't. In fact, I first saw OK Kanmani in a premiere where Mani sir, Hasni ma'am, me, and Dulquer were sitting and watching, and then that's when I said, "Dude, did you see that chemistry we have? Like, did you notice?" He's like, "No," So we didn't know that we had that. So those are things you don't know, or you don't do it on purpose. It just looks great somehow. I don't know what it is, but it looks great.
Of course, then there's so much pressure on you to repeat that again and again. But then the thing is to not do the same thing, isn't it? You can't
Yeah,
keep going back to the person you were 5 years ago.
yeah, that's right.
Which brings me to Breed 2. How has it been to do something that seems quite radically different from what you've done before?
I don't think it's radically different at all. This is what I've always been doing. I've always done things that are, it doesn't have a rhyme or reason. I've just,
As in the character, I felt that she was, Abha is a character who is somewhat different from what you've done before, perhaps.
no. So what you see in the trailer is perhaps a small sliver of
Right.
what it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of the chunk of it is hidden from the
Right.
trailer.
It's 12
For obvious
episodes,
reasons.
right?
I'm sorry.
It's 12 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like that character has so much to do and so much more. The fact that she's a mother is a minuscule part of that show.
Right.
There is a lot more coming to
Okay.
her and to her character.
Right.
So she will surprise you at many places, and there's a lot of twists and turns and lot of things happening. So there's a lot more depth, lot more shades to her than you see for now. So it's totally up my alley.
Right.
It's completely what I would love to do.
Did it come to you at a time when you were so ready for something complex like this?
It did. Actually, it did.
And
I had not worked for a while. Like I said, I took time off.
Yeah.
And then I started to get momentum within myself and say, oh my God, I can do so much more than this. And that's when Breathe came. And it just, like floodgates, it just opened. Which is why I always, like when I say this is my best performance, till date, people find it hard to be, oh, you've done great. No,
Yeah.
I think this is my best performance till today. And I'm rarely so happy with the performance. I always feel like, then something could have been different. But this I'm totally happy with. I was 100% able to be myself. So I am myself really curious. I'm waiting to see, what this is going to look like on screen. Oh my God, yeah. And I'm not always so excited for a release.
What was it about the character that appealed to you so much, Nithya?
The thing is that unlike a film,
Hmm.
when you have a web series and you have this many hours of
Yes.
content, then your character has a lot to do.
Hmm.
You know, it's somewhat limited when it's filmed because it's a 2-hour thing and you have to kind of fit everything into that.
Right.
But there's so much content, so the character is also so much more well written and etched beautifully. You know, so you have a like an emotional graph, you know, to that
Right.
character. And are they? Is it something about the time limit or something
Yeah,
like
I
that?
was just seeing. Yeah.
No problem. It's okay. We can go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
So
talk about
yes.
the, yeah.
So when you hear a script, you can pretty much kind of judge what how it's going to be made and what it's a nicely written script. I know it's a well written script. On top of that, that character was just exciting me to the core because it was not one dimensional. If it was a character where they said, okay, you have to play a mother of a child who gets I would never have played that. Never.
Right.
But it's not one dimensional. It goes up and down and all over the place, which you'll see when you watch Breathe.
Yeah.
You know, you'll know exactly why I wanted to do it.
I wish we could have seen it before talking to you, but that's
Yeah.
one
No,
of the travails.
we can talk again after watching, so
Yeah.
then you can ask me a lot more things.
What was it like being with that crew and cast? Saad, Abhishek Bachchan. Abhishek also,
Absolutely.
yeah, coming back to the screen after a while. He's had his own journey as well. What was it like being on that set?
Breathe was one of my favorite experiences to
Right.
shoot because
Where did you
I've always
shoot mostly, Nithya? Where did you shoot and when was it? How long did it take?
like the locations and stuff as of now I'm not allowed to reveal it because it
Right.
actually gets revealed through the thing.
Okay.
But I mean that you know, I've always craved to shoot with a team like that
Right.
where, you know, like the sensibilities match so much, the wavelengths match so much, like they understand when the scene is intense and that actor needs the emotional space. They create it for you. The director was sensitive enough to say, you know, be quiet, everybody, you
Right.
know, or like leave the room or give her the space, give her that thing. So that way, you know, for me, it was just, um, that's why I said it was my best performance because this is what I've been looking for all my life. I've been looking to work with a team like this, with this kind of evolved sensibilities and quality consciousness,
Right.
you know. So every single actor on Breathe was just so beautifully picked, and I told Mayank that, Mayank, hats off to you because casting, you know, casting right is something that not everybody does well.
Yeah.
He had casted every single actor in Breathe so perfectly, so beautifully. All were great actors and they all just were so spot on for their character. Amit and me had like, I remember this one scene that we did, which was Amit and mine, my first scene together. And we finished the scene, and then it was an intense scene. And we finished it. And I remember literally experiencing those feelings and experiencing all of that. And we finished the scene, and then both of us were like, and I was like, did you feel that? And he's like, I felt it. I felt it. I think that was great. I said, I think that was fantastic. And then from there they were like, guys, this is fantastic. We're done. You guys have to see the scene. Come here, watch the scene. Watch the scene. Just watch how it's, you know. So we both, you know, it was something that Amit and me both realized, oh my God, this rarely happens where you have that intense like give and take between two actors.
Right.
Strangely, as much as you think there's like good actors or chemistry or whatever, this doesn't always happen. It's a lot of times it's one-sided. So that was the first time for me that something like that had happened, and I felt so exhilarated after that scene. So in fact, I was talking to Amit yesterday and we're like, can't wait to see that scene. I want to see what it looks like on screen because it was so electric while we were shooting. So that is the kind of stuff that makes, you know, the experience so satiating.
Yeah.
because of that electric, like that energy. It's so satisfying.
What was it like working with Abhishek?
Abhishek was great. Abhishek is, he's light all the time. He wants to make jokes. He wants to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yes, I know that. But do you feel that you're now, what is the state that you're in now? What kind of cinema do you want to be part of? What are the things that you're looking at? As much as you can tell us about that.
I think what I feel very hopeful for myself
Yeah.
and for actors like me, because of this new medium which has opened up, which is this digital medium. I always felt that, somewhere, although I did do mainstream things, I didn't fit into the perfect boxes always. So there was a niche, that I feel I connected to, and I was kind of like a niche actor. So for someone like me, it is a nice, hopeful space,
Yeah.
digital,
Yeah.
because it gives me that kind of the kind of vast diversity,
Yes.
and it gives me characters to play that maybe films would not. There were also these tired ways of films that had been going on for years
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I feel that is getting broken with
Yes.
OTT, because somewhere it's becoming more, a little more wider. It's becoming more international. So quality is coming a bit more to the foreground, and that I've been praying for all my life, that we should make better quality films. We should
Yes.
always, yeah. So that in that sense, I'm feeling very hopeful for myself, for the future, because there was a time when I wondered, what am I going to do next? Like, how am I going to be happy doing just this? Is this it? This is not it. There is a lot more to come. So I'm looking forward to, like the stuff that can happen. And I think people tend to sort of typecast a person into a certain thing
Yeah.
all the time. So
Yes.
people always see me as like a certain thing, but I would love that I play characters which portray a little more the true me, who I am, and I'm full of life, and I'm very, very spunky, and I'm very unconventional. People think I'm very traditional and I'm very like all that, but I'm not. I'm actually not very conventional. I'm slightly non-conformist. So I would love to do stuff that more reflects that real me. And there's one more thing that I'm really excited for, which is music.
Right.
So I've been working on music during lockdown, and we've just recorded two singles,
Oh.
they're original tracks, and we're working on sort of releasing it formally and everything.
Oh.
So I'm really looking forward to having a career in music along with films. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm glad I got this time to sort of work on that.
Have you
So
written your own lyrics?
yes, for one of the tracks, I co-wrote them along with
Okay.
my
Do
musician
you
who
think
co.
we can persuade you to sing a little of that, or is it,
No, no,
no?
no. It's still. It has to be released,
Is it
first.
in Tamil or is it in any other language?
So there are two tracks.
Okay.
One track is in English,
Okay.
and it is I collaborated with an artist, musician from London,
Uh-huh.
and he's a sarod player.
Oh.
And yeah, so I've always been fond of his sarod and like his music. I've loved it all the time. So I kind of collaborated with him, and we made a track, and that's in English. And another track that we made is more regional,
Okay.
but and I worked with another artist, but that's still in that stage where it's just about, how to release it is kind of, we are working on that, so hopefully very soon.
So, are you now going to pause a bit and see what comes your way after Breed 2 is released? Because people will start looking at you a little differently, you think? Or are you, as you were saying, we have to break these conventional forms of storytelling, right? So,
Yeah.
how are you looking at the future?
As of now, there doesn't seem time to pause because there's already like a bunch of films that were supposed to be shot, which
Yeah.
now has just kind of piled up, into a
Which
line.
ones are these? Which ones are these, Nithya?
So I'm doing two Telugu films.
Okay.
One is directed by a very old friend of mine, Anisha Shi, and it's his first film. And he's a very, very interesting writer. Very, I like new people with original ideas and fresh perspectives. And he's like that. And the character I'm doing there, of course, is something that people will love. And, it's again something that completely goes opposite to what I've done till now, and
Okay.
it's in a more fantasy space kind of a thing. So it's a very beautiful film. Another film in Telugu that I'm doing is a very interesting period film, which is like a dark satire, and I'm part producing that film. So that'll be my first production as well. I
Wow.
was so fond of that script, and I think that is the kind of cinema I wanted. When I think of that script, I feel like yes, this is what life is about. So I love it that much. So I'm part producing that. So that's happening. And then I have a film with Dhanush that I'm doing in Tamil, which we were supposed to start in August, which both of us were so excited about because me and Dhanush have never worked together before. And he called me and he said, like, are you ever going to work with me or not? Like, why is it that we've never? I said, no, let's do it. So I think that'll be great to work with someone like Dhanush because I think that will be something we can look forward to. And yeah, so and then I have some web series things planned for Amazon Prime in a regional language in
Oh,
Telugu.
lovely.
So there's a bunch of stuff that once things start up, there'll be a lineup of stuff to finish.
Reviews. So it's
Yeah,
good that you've got this time to think and to sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
prepare yourself for, in a way, it's Nithya Menen 2.0, is it?
Absolutely, I love that. I love it. Yes,
So
2.0
B
it is.
2.0 and Nithya Menon 2.0. And
That's right.
I have to leave you with one last question, Nithya, because I think the characters you portray on screen are so strongly feminine and yet so liberated in many ways. I wonder how young women react to you. Do you get a lot of conversations from them? Do you get a lot of
I do.
reactions from them? Because there's something in your spirit that I think every young woman relates to.
Yeah, I actually have equal number of female fans as I have male fans,
Right.
which always is slightly lopsided. But most of the time, female fans are like so much. Like I get approached so much by women in a
Right.
way that people normally. So a lot of people around my set will always say, this usually doesn't happen. It usually
Yeah.
happens the other way around.
Right.
But it happens a lot. So a lot of women are sort of really connecting to me. I don't know what it is exactly,
It's
but
in your spirit, I think, which comes through on screen.
yeah, but also there's a sort of roundedness in my personality in the sense I'm not one-sided. So if I'm feminine, I'm not like just completely
Yeah.
feminine.
Yeah.
If I'm bold, I'm not masculine and bold.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to understand that you can be feminine and you can be soft and you can be gentle and yet you can be independent and you can be a strong woman and that's who you
Exactly.
are. And whatever you are, it's fine. No matter what you are, it's fine. And I think maybe that's what people feel because I show all those sides in me that they feel like, yeah, that's me and I'm okay, I'm accepted.
Yes. But I think our biggest acceptance is, of course, ourselves. And once we accept ourselves, we're fine. I think
Absolutely.
women have, I think that's the biggest stumbling block they have. They,
Yeah.
the acceptance of them with their flaws and with their strengths.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Thank you so much. Before I go off into a tangent, thank you so much for talking to us, Nithya. It's such a pleasure. And I wish you all the best. And I really am looking forward to watching Breathe 2.
Thank you so much.
2.0.
Thank you. And thank you for talking to me, even though you have that eye thing. I mean, That
Yeah,
must have
but,
been hard. I
yeah,
would have been so out of mood, like if I had something in my eye.
but it's worth it. Thank you very much for the privilege.
Thank you, Kaveri.
Bye.
It's my